And so what we're wanting to do for the short-term solution is to pump water from here to here. And I've got 8,000 liters of tanks sitting there right now. I'd have to prep them and get sand underneath them and get them in situated properly. But my plan was pump water from here to here, and then pump that water wherever to here. In this area, I eventually want to have some gravity feeding tanks up here, but that's quite an incline, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big, I mean, that's 180 feet or 60 meters, right?
Yep.
So
and 130 feet of line.
yeah. So I mean, I can't. I think it should work because, like, in my mind, the way that I'm thinking about it is like some wells are 300 feet deep, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and the pump is way down, you know, near the bottom, and then they're like our well pumps from 180 feet, and so our well's pumping it up and then into a pressure tank. So
Yeah.
there should be no reason why that pump couldn't get it out to that spot. I don't think that's an issue. Now my gut is like if you got to pump it from one thing, and like if you're like staging it at these different tanks,
Staging it, yeah.
I'm almost curious, like, why not just like take it and
go
pump
the whole way,
right to where we're talking about digging that dam, because like you guys can have that done next week if you can get the liner. And I don't.
Yeah, where do you get that kind of thing?
I'm trying to think. It'd probably be Rob would know that.
Okay.
But I'm sure there's suppliers and stuff that you could get.
Yeah, I'll look into it. No big deal. I'll ask Rob too. But the reason I wanted a holding tank here is he's kind of scratching my back, and so I'm scratching his. In that, by having these tanks here, it's a solution for him at his house here, because then he's got gravity feed down to his house.
I see. And
so it's kind of like we're doing one installation of infrastructure and helping us both.
Okay, so then I'll help both you even more. So why not then, because he's got water there,
yeah,
why not build that first pond that we
here
talked about in that valley?
Yeah.
And then line that with bentonite and then fill it with his well. And then he can just siphon, he can siphon down to his yard, and then you can have a pump on your property. That 100-foot line, like, here, let me share my screen here.
Okay. I guess we'll just have to try it, right? I mean, I've got all the line, so I could do it. Like, I've the pumps down there. I'll just bring a generator down there.
Yeah.
I don't have power. Yeah.
Well,
but just like
it's not much farther. Like, you're talking about pumping to this bench, right?
Yeah, it's not that much further. You're right.
I would just like the cost of, like, I mean, you already bought the tanks and stuff like that, but you've got 8,000 liters. You can have a couple 100,000 liters here, and then he can just siphon. Like, he can actually use the same line that's pumping up to siphon back down to have gravity fed water for, like, so he can basically pump, like, whenever the sun's shining, he can pump water, and he can actually have a dedicated circuit on his solar system, so that once his battery's charged and all of his loads are met, it just shunts over to that dedicated breaker, turns on his well pump, and this is a giant battery now on the top of this hill, so that he can have, you know, 60, 70 psi water at his house whenever he wants, and then you can just tie this guy in later on, and now it's just a short line. Like, you can tee onto his same pump and run it over to this guy in the future, or run it around your gardens or whatever. Yeah. And so now you've got all these ponds that are linked together, and you just have valves that you can turn on or off to fill up one pond. And what's really cool is, like, you could actually, like, he could then even gravity feed from this pond as well if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And, like,
well, there'll be a lot. That's amazing. That's a really smart idea.